There are grayed outlines of the end sections here.
Oh, there you go. I see.
I will say on a spiritual note, if you do not wish to hear the ringing of Peter's bells, because
Yes, that's me. It's got to go.
want to think about spiritually the effects when it comes to your ears and reduce it as much as you can.
Wow, that is very helpful.
Yes, it's just Peter, you are fantastic, but the ringing of the bells can overpower voices quite quickly.
Vox and Peter, you may sit, I guess, over
This
there,
way.
since all those chairs are empty.
Peter, you can sit next to me.
Oh. Isn't that the Aegis?
It is.
Fine.
It is.
Peter,
There's
I am
Pasithea,
Smell.
which. Okay.
It's Wednesday.
I see.
Yeah,
Do you want to
Pasithea, do you
see?
want to sit with your colors?
I'm going to assume these are
Alright. That's understandable.
I didn't realize you were so close with the shepherds.
I was hopeful that the Yahtzee would also be here, but
I have
What
no
can you
strong
do?
feelings one way
Is
or
the
the
Yahtzee
other.
not aware?
he is not awake at the moment now.
Unfortunate.
Spiritually, I think they stayed up beyond their stars.
Absolutely.
Well then,
Alright, well, I suppose I won't waste any time.
Of course.
Yes. So the original conception of this summit was to deal with, well,
Color me
the situation
apathetic.
with Thorin and the Afflicted, but obviously things have changed a lot since I first conceptualized this summit. Now, the most pressing issue we face is the judge's ascension tomorrow, and I would like to open the summit by discussing
Enemies on
that.
my land.
If the judge is to ascend, I suspect you all can imagine how fucked we might be. So, I believe it is in our best interests to try and figure out what we're doing about that. As a whole, as a collective, as Vardoran. I am open to hearing any ideas or proposals. Hello, Enkil Remy. We're talking about the judge.
Color me
Hello.
apathetic.
We have identified that the crypt is underground, yes, and that is where they have been hiding.
Lurking around my castle
Correct.
grounds.
If we could route natural gases from another cavern nearby, we could light it on fire, causing a massive explosion, incinerating everything at once.
Are you familiar with any natural gas pockets in the area?
Gloomrot,
Do you know if it connects all the way down to the crypts?
I have not gone down to the crypt, so I am unaware.
I've
Simply a theory.
heard there may be a connection to the crypts through the Waygates. I have yet to write to Cassandra, who apparently has studied the Waygate connections and
there is also the aspect where I think it would actually be easier to defeat the judge were we not underground. They have the home field advantage, so to speak.
You also find it very difficult to get into that crypt or put something there. From what I've been told, it is protected by a similar magic we utilized during the war. If they don't want you in, you will not get in.
What do you know of that magic from the war?
The magics we used was more of a last line of defense, protective measures to keep vampires alive. A ward of sorts to keep trespassers out whilst we slumbered.
Do you have any details on how the ward was made?
I personally do not. I was not part of its creation. But if it's similar, I can guarantee you're not getting in easily.
It seems a counter-attack, so to speak, will be out of the plan for tomorrow's event at the very least. This is something we should be planning for the distant future if we succeed in this endeavor.
We also need to accept that just like today, there's the potential that after we fall, we may have many more afflicted just in stopping the judge, unless we find a way to whirlpool many in a much less expensive manner. I think we will simply be feeding the affliction.
Which has the additional problem that it seems to be getting harder. Notably, Opaline was not even beholden, and yet the ritual fought her. It fought not to let her go in a way that it didn't with the others, which is concerning. Which, speaking of, we burned through 19,000 radiant fiber last month at the Silver Pact. Half of the ropes burned with Opaline, and the ropes burned in their entirety when Thorn failed. That took away 15,000, and then there was another 4,000 fiber consumed. The Assad may be able to fashion or bring over his old ropes, which he still has at the research sigil. And we have the crowstones, and then we also, I think, have another about 2,500 fiber, but with the now 6 new afflicted from this month alone, it's going to take a lot of effort to get them out. Or at the moment, assuming we get Yassad's ropes and have that backup, then we only need another 3,500 fiber. But ideally, we can get another 10,000 fiber to remake the ropes in entirety, which is 13,500. Additionally, from Talon and I walking the 3 of them over to Asphodel and seeing them, at the moment they seem to have they have maybe not a compulsion, but they have a very strong desire to be near one another. They were huddling up very, very closely. And they were inviting Flemnia, who neither of them had ever really spoken, to be near them. And, like, physically, they just want to be right next to each other.
So, the other aspect I want to bring up about Yasod's ritual, and I did wish he was present for this, there may in fact be a way to alter the material components. Perhaps we could use the radiant stones instead of the radiant fibers, as I have learned 2 things of recent. In fact, I learned them at the beginning of this cycle. 1, the radiant stones are literally just made of radiant fibers, and 2, I can make them now.
You can make them?
I can make them, yes. If the stones are more useful and don't guarantee to be destroyed in the process, we could actually... The resource requirements may be a lot cheaper if we go through this process. I will, of course, need to talk to Yasod about it because it was his ritual, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, definitely talk to him.
As you wish.
As far as I can tell, I mean, people hold on to the ropes, so go ahead, Resinot.
Resinot?
I will bring up a concern that I noticed with the rituals last cycle, and that is that the magic can fight back in that version of the ritual. If it gets to a point where it is too risky, I am wondering if fire, albeit the more dangerous and damaging method, may be more effective to ensure that the person is cured. I'm not saying necessarily that we need to change the ritual in its entirety, but if we see that the magic is fighting too strongly, I believe it might be wiser to have fire nearby to use against it.
Has anyone ever found out why fire is so successful? Or what
Because-
about fire makes it able to burn out the affliction?
Because the affliction takes root in the vampiric core or the magic core of a person. It is able to burn out the affliction in the same way that it is able to burn and kill vampires.
Would not acid also work, then, by that logic?
I have tried acid and it did not.
Yes, NK.
In regards to why fire works where other methods do not, I believe it has to do with the primal nature of fire. It's one of the core elements used in the creation of, well, the entire planet. That likely has a lot to do with why it works. It affects the affliction on a fundamental level.
I do believe that some of the research that we found within the Luminance Library will also beckon to this. It is because fire, regular fiber, does not have any magical particulates or such in it. That is why chaos fire will not burn it, because chaos fire comes with magic still imbued inside of it.
That makes
We
perfect
believe
sense.
that the radiant fiber and whatever the scions use consume magical energies.
Hilariously enough, that would... The more potent the mage you are, the worse you are at dealing with the affliction. A simple gun with no magical empowerments will do more harm to them than a magical spell that would usually explode someone by that logic.
So it shall.
Tracks, given the Transcendum are the only ones not affected by this blight.
Hmm. In that case, could we try reaching out to anyone from Transcendum? They might be a strong ally in this.
I already have and intend to meet face to face with one of their number very soon.
That
There's
is good information.
there's that scientist that helped us get into Blackbrew's lab, right? The weird
Correct.
one.
That is the one.
Oh, not him. Oh no.
Was it Oleander
Yes,
or
I-
what was the name?
It's Oleander, the loud one.
Yes, I have already reached out to Oleander and
Yes.
again intend to meet him
I
face to face
have
very
no
soon.
strong feeling
The
about
one who
waking
is
up.
constantly trying to kidnap and experiment on humans to witness what happens when enchanted humans die.
Correct.
I have a question, then.
Emily.
Last cycle, myself, Rouge, Trezin, I believe Alone was there as well, went on a expedition around Glomrot for Zrot. We gathered a bunch of different kinds of mutant grease to bring him back to him in order for him to create liquid fire. We're already working on that. I do not know how he progressed in the research, but it's something he's working on, replicating the exact same thing that Glomrot is doing.
He got pretty far and he managed to make a single test subject for it, but when his lab was destroyed, a lot of his notes were, and so he is... If he gets a lab and operational, he should be able to recreate it with time and resource.
Very problematic. Alright, Talon?
Behold,
Would we be able to use the techniques of the Venom Blades to coat our weapons with natural flame? That would bolster our normal weapons against the High Fae and their...
If it's using Venom Soap is... I mean, it is magic.
Well, we don't need to use it. We could use oil. Fish oil is equally combustible. I'm simply saying the techniques they use.
Yeah.
If we create it and utilize it with weapons, it would make all of our armaments much more formidable.
You would need to make a liquid substance capable of generating intense heat for a prolonged period of time, then.
I may have the answer to that. I'll have to dig back through my notes that I've recovered, but there may be a formula.
Hold on, isn't that just liquid fire? Isn't that just what Zerat's working on?
Sort of.
We have
Assad and I are also working on an alchemical fire.
Good.
Absolutely.
But to sort of reel us back to the immediate subject, the judge will ascend next cycle. So, while it is good to have these things for the future, yes, Rosenroll?
Oh no, for when you are done, it is on the judge.
All right. While these things are good to have for the future, and we will discuss them at length soon, we need to figure out a more immediate course of action now. What we have now to face the judge.
Well, it is clear that the targets she are after is the ones that had their doors marked, myself and a few others in this room included. If we could act as a sort of trap, akin to the fire room that was done recently.
Yeah.
We gather in one location and make sure she doesn't get to those marked. Kill her on the path. I have a very strong opinion in this matter, and this is just my theory and belief, that because of how close she is to the High Fae incident, if she is to be burned and killed, there is a near certainty she will suffer her final death and fail.
And this is actually why the firebox was created. It was not created for the encased, it was made for the judge. The hope was to lure her to the Silver Pact, which may not be a possibility now to actually get her there, given that she probably knows about it, given, you know, what we did.
Well,
if
Sorry, go on.
we would need a new location to lure her to.
Yes.
Likely location. Potentially Yesod's lab could be a good place because it is not warded and therefore more appealing to her.
No, it has to be warded or they will walk right through the walls and we won't be able to hold her. They were strong enough that we needed the wards to trap them.
They could also interfere with sigil magic.
Yes, they can
like
rip
teleporters, for
right.
example.
They can rip right through your sigil magics without wards. It has to be a warded location. They clearly, as they demonstrated last month, don't give enough of a shit about wards or not. They will run right in anyway if you open that door and give them enough of a target. We had Roge standing at the bottom of the stairs. Roge opened the door, they charged in. I locked the door behind them. CJ.
Sorry, I just want to know. I have a sneaking suspicion if we do the exact same plan again, they'll fall for it again. I'm not kidding.
We can.
My
Yep. CJ, go ahead.
concern is that the judge may not interact with a trap. My concern is that this ascension isn't hunting all of you, it is just going to be destroying a waygate.
There's
You're
a-
under the impression they're just going straight there.
It is a possibility that we should not cross out.
Mhm.
I do believe so.
I mean, there's a very good chance it starts and finishes at the crypts, or, you know, at the waygate near the crypts, who knows?
In which case, we need to find out which waygate she plans to destroy and preempt it, so to speak.
Will the crypt be open for a attack party when she exits?
I would like to caution the Oasis, as they call it. They are filled with high fae. It is a very dangerous location to attack.
It is why I wanted to make disguises to appear encased without necessarily being encased, as that lets the High Fae think you are a friend and not attack.
Beholden will just be enough. You do not need to be fully encased.
Then that is easier of a disguise to make.
Fascinating.
It's also why I want a lot of alchemical fire.
Regardless, I think that plan is something we deal with after the majority of the scions have been dealt with. But this is not something you should stop doing. That is a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
My problem with the disguise is that it requires fiber cloaks more than likely. I have one and a few others have some, but the person who is able to make them is Robin and she may not want to currently. She would need to be cured first.
Robin was willing to be cured, but do you know if she still is? She said she would after, Verena and Rose.
Emily, I believe you are the most qualified to speak on this. On Robin's willingness to be cured.
Up until this point, and for the last 3 years, what was stopping her was Roge and Verena. She wouldn't leave them behind no matter what. Now that they're out, there is another obstacle in the way, and a bigger one at that. Because this obstacle refuses to get out. He won't get out and is more dangerous than the others.
I assume you speak of Crimson.
Correct. He has given up on everything and decided that he would rather die. This may be the only way for Crimson, as much as I hate to say it.
Robin, for a while now, even before the Seeds, has been supporting Crimson in his own unique condition. What is affecting him, I will not get into detail here. It's not just the Seed or the affliction. She was helping him with that. She was the only thing that was holding him together. We will need to force her out. I can't do it. I made her a promise. But at this point, it's the only way, and until a few cycles ago, I almost got, well, permission from her to do so. Not myself, as I will not do it, but that is the only way.
So you are saying we need to take them by force?
What I'm saying is that if we don't get Crimson out, she will not go out, no matter what.
Not willingly.
It is my understanding that Thorin was present at this raid on Zerots, correct?
He was. Thorin was.
In case.
Yes.
Yes.
Thorin, Crimson, and Robin.
Yes, they
Is
were
Crimson
all there.
also encased?
I
had the glow that Thorin had right before he exploded in that eruption.
That's
he
the
also was using a magic that no normal vampire can use. Some sort of necromancy where he was creating corpse explosions but also disappearing, not unlike Goreswine.
It was summoning 3 or so at a time.
His seed might have sprouted then.
Robin fought as herself. I slit her throat once. Talon did a second time. Thorn went down as well as the rat, as I understand it.
They were both burned together, yes.
Yes.
I'm going to make this plain. This is likely our last cycle to get Robin and any other beholden out. The encased are dead. Thorin and Crimson are effectively dead. We cannot get them out.
I think you misunderstand one thing. Crimson is not yet encased. I would know.
The seeds have blossomed, but
He
that's
is not.
the last stage.
His seed
Alright.
blossomed, but he is not encased.
He was not.
If it's blossomed, he does not have long left.
He did not have the same strength as Thorin, but he seems to be very quickly getting there.
Whatever the case may be, I do believe this is our last cycle to get them out.
Additionally, spiritually, Crimson will not be able to be forced out until Moon's Day.
Which is unfortunate because I am of the opinion that'll almost certainly be too late.
Then Why
That is
do
a
not?
spiritual matter, unfortunately.
Then that leaves us with Robin. So I guess we need to ask ourselves, are we going to take Robin by force?
Yes.
It seems like the only option.
Yeah, there is no other
What
alternative,
of
it seems.
Phoenix?
No, I
Phoenix
just
also
got
has a
permission.
seed.
You got permission.
Mm,
Look
you
at
mean
this.
like, oh, permission from who? I will look.
Give me a moment, I'll move it around.
Thank you. I think, like Pasithea said, May's at the door if someone can let her in.
Can you get that for me, Callan?
Phoenix has also blossomed, and I believe it was cycles ago. He's been that way for a while.
Then we need to get him out as well.
As you wish.
By force, if we have to. We have tried to respect the consent of those that are seated, but we are running out of time.
Yes.
We currently, of the new afflicted, at least 3 of them are consenting to be removed. Those are the ones being held at Asphodel right now. I presume Zerat is as well. I don't know about Sable and Elune. Sable might be a particular sticking point given, well...
She may want to try and help Crimson, but I will try and speak to her.
Exactly. That is my concern, is I know she is an association with Crimson.
Was May not out there?
I am indifferent.
Right. Okay, well, before we move on completely to talking about getting other people out of the affliction, we need to settle on if we are taking an offensive against the judge, or if we are laying a trap. If we are laying a trap, or are we just going to the
I
crypts
am
to meet her as she rises?
My
I am
pers-
of the opinion we should not give them the home field advantage.
I also would recommend against this. As I said, the oasis is filled with high fae. They would likely flood out if we were to threaten them.
The closest I would be willing to wait is outside of the waygate closest to them.
A trap may be the best avenue available to us that allows us to properly anticipate certain things. If we simply rush in during an assault, there's a good chance we'll find ourselves smashed against a wall.
As much as I would love to put all of our eggs into a trap basket, so to speak, such as the firebox, which did work wonders.
Strong feelings one way or the other.
The issue is if we invest into a trap and then the judge just goes straight for a waygate, we're sort of fucked.
That is where my thought was coming in, that we should have a trap prepared, but be ready to meet them on the field. On the assumption that we might not get to use it.
There is another concern not taken into account. There's 2 exits.
I see that.
That is true.
The judge will likely be heading right to the waygate. That is their primary goal. That is what they're after. And the only reason they have not made steady assaults on them as of yet is because they do not have... Destroying a waygate takes an immense amount of power. It's why they were seeking artifacts. If this ascension releases that kind of power, they might be...
Such rich flavor.
They might be going right for it.
The problem is that we have no way of knowing which waygate they target, and I wouldn't be surprised if they could target any of their choosing. There's little stopping them from, say, exiting one of the crypts and just destroying one right at their front gate.
This is...
I suspect they would leave those for last due to access and use on their behalf, but it's still a possibility.
We need then to have a way to scout all way near the appropriate time and a communication set in place.
Talon, when the order came out, Talon alone scouted all of the waygates, which was costly to her, but she was able to scout all of them rather quickly. I had already written you, Alazar and Rosenrot. Go ahead,
but something to keep me corporeal when I am done. Because I will be using waygates in fast succession.
Rosenrot, could we perhaps repurpose the ritual that you had developed to attempt to locate Etherid?
Potentially, I do have Judge Goop. Which is but
it may be a less costly method.
True.
Along that vein, I wonder if there's some way for us to determine perhaps the most likely waygate. Like perhaps the waygates are weaker, you know, a little different to waygate.
Well, if I may point out, while the encased movements have seemed erratic, there is a reason to them. It would make logical sense that the most tactically significant target would be the one the judge would wish to strike at first.
If we go, what we know is the last one that was destroyed was the one in Dracula's garden. But
no, it was in Tharbin.
No, that was the first. It was destroyed during the war centuries ago.
The one directly below the bandit stronghold was the one that was destroyed.
Has anyone tried using it?
Yeah, you cannot use it. It is under rubble.
Okay, that was my suggestion. Idea was the next one.
However, we know the judge marks those that it's coming after. Is it possible they have already marked what waygate they're going for, and we just need to identify if there is a symbol nearby?
Not as far as my knowledge. Although it does also beg the question: if they go straight for the waygate, why mark us? Why do they have targets in mind?
Distraction, maybe. Hoping.
The judge is wrathful, vengeful. They hold hatred still.
Well,
I
then...
think Alan is right. I think this is the judge enacting what little of her will she has left before it's gone entirely.
Yeah, I mean, if she wants to go on this wild hunt before her ascension, then maybe we could try and use that.
Actually, this might yield an answer. Is there not a waygate directly outside Kokonos' research facility?
There is.
They've defied her enough times. It's entirely possible that's where she'll strike.
I imagine whatever target she kills last, she'll just go to the nearest waygate from there. You're probably right.
Well,
then we could gather all of them.
Yeah.
What if we were to post a waygate saying we are going to conduct a ritual to free people at Kokonos' on the next cycle?
Lure her out, trap her in.
We can do that. It will need to be warded, which currently, as I understand it, there's a problem with even warding that place.
As far as my knowledge, they can't, no.
Well, we can use the Silver Pact again.
Yeah.
And even if the judge knows it's there, it's not as if she can do much about it.
We can... Rosenrot?
That was my point earlier, yes.
First of all, I believe another person wanted to say something.
Oh, apologies. Remy, do you have something to say?
It is fine. You guys seem to have it under control. I was simply going to wonder if anybody else had noticed any changes with some of the waygates. Because I know that I have noticed some growths on them.
Those have been there for a while. It seems to be an aspect of the lay bleeding out magic. Why exactly, I'm still not sure, but... it could have to do with how they are destroying it. Again, I'm not sure. But one thing I wanted to say is I have been making a duty of writing to the judge and trying to anger her in the hopes that if we need to bait her somewhere, I could send a letter and it would not seem out of character for me to do so.
I can do so as well. I pissed her off really bad when I was beholden.
I mean, you could just be super inflammatory about it. About like, hey, we're doing a ritual at this time and place to get everyone out. There's nothing you can do to stop us.
Well, that would be a bit of an obvious trap, especially considering we burnt them with it already.
yeah.
So then we need to lure them into a facility they've never been into before.
This place is the only warded location that also they have not been at. With the current 3 warded estates being the Silver Pact, Claudia, and Lothrix. And here, they have the death mark on your front door. And they've been at the research sigil. They don't know about this place, though.
I would advise caution regardless. Do not underestimate your enemies. That is the fast way to getting killed.
No. I'm just looking at having a warded estate as a prerequisite to even having a chance against all of them. They were perfectly content to run, and they could outside of the research sigil. Trapping them was the only way we could ensure that we had some kind of advantage.
I really wish I had reached out to Transcendum sooner. It would be very nice to just have a chamber completely hands-free to roast these fucking people. Alright, well, I think what we should do, we should check out the waygates this cycle, see if there is anything that we can determine, perhaps a weak point somewhere specific they might go. If we can't determine anything, I think our plan next cycle should be pretty much the same. We should,
I am indifferent.
I guess, just hunker down in the Silver Pact with all of the marked people until the judge...
An idea just came to me with the whole warded estate thing. Teo had an idea. Talon and Ruby know of this. He had an idea to ensure reconstitution within a specific room. There would be some sort of waygate attached to it, and they would be forced to reconstitute into the coffin in that room. Is it possible that we could permanently take the judge out of the picture using this? We have the goop, right? We might be able to tether them to the room somehow? Just sort of throwing something at the wall to see if it sticks.
That's not a terrible idea. You're saying perhaps we bind the judge to a specific room and force them to reconstitute in it.
Yes, and if the estate is worded, they can't walk through walls, they can't leave.
Rosinante.
I believe it's been mentioned, but just to reiterate, she is so close to ascension that there is hardly any of her vampiric essence left to be able to reconstitute.
If she is burned when she dies, it is a guarantee she will never come back. It is final death.
I actually just had a thought. The afflicted were ordered to kill everyone that was afflicted in the past. What if that is what she wants? We know that by ascending, it will release a massive amount of entropy magic. What if by bunching up a bunch of people who were afflicted, because many of the marked were afflicted before, and those are the real targets, she wants to gather all of us together and cause an even bigger explosion, I suppose, of entropy magic. What if the marks, attacking everyone is just a trap? She doesn't want everyone. She wants specifically the past afflicted in order to strengthen her own ascension.
I am under the opinion the people she is after is the marks. When last cycle the afflicted started hunting, it did appear to be the ones that were previously afflicted. I do, however, think that was unrelated. And in fact, Foreign was very adamant that it wasn't the judge calling that hunt.
work on devising a locating ritual for the judge so we can keep track of her actual location.
Good. I think right now the best we can do with such little time is, as I said, we can work on the locating ritual for the judge, but also I would like anyone, to investigate the way gates and see if we can determine a weak point, a possible target. And then we will just meet at the Silver Pact and sort of hunker down next cycle. We'll make a trap if the judge is hunting. And if we determine that the judge is not hunting and is just going straight for a way gate, we're all ready and able to mobilize.
Mm-hmm.
If we can't, we could go defensive as well. I recall something about reinforcing way gates.
You can reinforce the waygate within a castle waygate with a bunch of dark silver and an honest is my understanding.
Yes.
Well, wait a minute. Could we not? Could it not apply to the waygates in the world?
Yeah,
it
that's
explicitly
a good point.
requires connection to a castle heart.
At least for your... Another could be made in theory toward, but it would need a stable, reliable power source.
It is also, rituals like this take a bit of time to devise. I don't think we can do such a thing in one cycle.
Right. It might
Especially
be
with other events happening.
a future prospect.
Why forming and creating a ritual within a cycle, and I've done so before.
Yes, Tana.
I believe Zerat has provided us the means to build his alchemical fire. But what if we were to put casks of it and bury them near the waygates surrounding each one? Just as a backup plan if the judge goes for them, that we detonate them immediately, inflaming and burning anyone in the vicinity. Then, even if she is targeting people rather than going for waygates, we are covering two aspects of their choices.
It is not a bad idea. Though, I suppose it would depend how much alchemical fire we could make in a cycle.
I have no strong feelings one way or the other.
Well, I have nothing better to do. If needed, I can go and gather ingredients for it.
And probably not a bad idea, either way.
It seems that the key ingredients are fire blossoms, venom sap, and mutant grease in a sealed vessel.
Something I believe we have in excess at Elysium.
Yeah,
At least the fire blossoms.
Sludge canisters, or, well, the empty canisters themselves, would that work?
Yes, or we could make clay pots, which are easier to break. Could also do glass vials.
We have a lot of sludge canisters at the hall.
Very good. So I think that is... I did want to specifically ask, Peter, do you happen to have, I don't know,
Color me
supporters, fellow soldiers, people that would fight with you?
There's our own sub-order that we have garnered. A few high-ranking paladins, some light weavers of renown, a substantial force of riflemen and guardsmen.
Can we count on you to help fight the judge when the time comes?
I shall see what I can dispense.
Thank you.
So it shall be.
Appreciate that. Alright. I think that is about as solid of a plan as we're going to get against the judge for now.
I do believe there may be one more topic, or not so much a topic as much of a bullet point below a topic. In gathering the ingredients for the liquid fire, where and who shall we be giving those to?
Well, normally I would say Zerat, but I think Zerat might have a particularly busy cycle.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the note has been passed around. So I think everyone here should be able to make it yourself.
I am indifferent.
I mean,
Just you might burn yourself a little bit in the process.
I can mass produce it if you bring the ingredients to the meadows, and I'll need someone to dig several holes around all the waygates so that we can implant them. The downside with these is they need to be thrown to detonate all the ones we bury. So ideally glass or clay containers which break upon heat would be best.
I will also say there are many alchemists in the land that could be called upon for this, including Yesod, my brother, although my brother may be spiritually busy. Yesod is a good
I have just been listening.
I meant more for the rest of the day. I keep getting up. I meant more of the cycle.
Unfortunately, Alune is currently afflicted.
Yeah.
Of course she is.
Not surprised.
It was not. She was eaten at the war.
Yes, she was one of the many afflicted in the battle. And I do need to bring it up because I don't think it's been mentioned yet. I think everyone sensed the change in the winds as soon as a large number of people got afflicted. The condition of the world got worse again. Magic started dying again. We need to agree upon a time and place where if people are not willing to get out and the rituals cannot be done quickly, we need to get people out violently. We are running into a situation where at some point we cannot allow any to be afflicted, or else the world just will not heal.
8 p.m. by the eastern stars of this cycle.
Well, that's a bit early.
So my only note on that is that looks like Cassandra's lay dive is going to be about a day before that, or a turn in vampire time. So I'd say a little bit later.
The other reason I think that is far too hasty is because news takes a moment to travel around Vardoran, and I think one cycle is definitely not enough time for appropriate people to all hear it.
I am taking a pretty firm stance here. I believe that the judge's ascension is our deadline. Anyone unwilling beyond the judge's ascension should be forced out, whether it succeeds or fails.
Very well. In which case, if a ritual... How long are we willing to wait for a ritual to be performed before we turn to violent action? After that point.
Well, Crimson is an exception. Yes, we will...
My point being, those who have currently been afflicted, Alune, Name, Lorenzo, if a ritual cannot be done that cycle, how long are we willing to wait for them to do it peacefully? Or if it will take longer than a cycle or two, do we just violently bring them out by force with fire?
They will to get their throats ripped by afflicted. So why would they not be willing to also put their lives down in defense of Vardoran? Fire.
How lenient are we with the waiting of rituals is my point.
What about
I will...
five turns before the judge rises? Is that...
My point is
cutting it too
after
close?
the fall of the judge. If more are afflicted due to whatever event happens, how long are we willing to wait before we quickly get them out? I am willing to say a cycle.
We know
Two
that
cycles. How
all
many
of them want to be near each other, as an example of the ones in Asphodel.
How many is a few? We need to be specific.
2, 3, whatever. Somewhere in the ballpark.
2 cycles. I'm willing to say 2 cycles.
2 months works for me.
I would say we don't. If we wait any longer, we risk the lay dying. It is smarter to not hesitate on this situation.
I understand. My primary concern is spiritual conflicts.
Which is why I think we need to wait. Yes.
But I think a 2-cycle breathing room should be sufficient time to figure those out in most cases.
I can agree to that.
Alright.
Likewise, I agree with CJ that the deadline of the judge's ascension for the currently afflicted is their last chance to come willingly, with exceptions, but in general, that is their last chance. That means Robin, Enix, mostly those two. and Crimson is being the exception. You can talk with her. We are giving you the time, Emily.
But yes, we are definitely reaching the point where we cannot be friendly about this anymore.
Of the newly afflicted this cycle, the three of them that are currently in Asphodel are willing to go through the ritual. They're currently clinging tight to each other in a pile or whatever at the top of Asphodel. And the other three, one is Zerat, who I assume will be willing. As for Sable, Shepherds, I'm gonna just say that you all need to talk to her and make sure that she is willing. And then the last one is Alune, which is also Shepherds. So you all make sure that they are willing, otherwise we do it by force.
I do not believe that Sable will be an issue. Alune, maybe.
Will not Sable want to go be with Crimson?
That Sable was the one I thought would be the issue, yeah, because of Crimson. Alune, if she's truly free of the possession, then I figured she'd be fine.
If Alune is free of the possession, then yes. If we have to force Sable, we will.
Okay.
Understood.
With regards to Vox, since you seem to have more experience with it, with regards to forcing them by fire, is it enough to just lock them in a room and burn it, and burn them until it's gone?
You would have to burn them until they die.
Well, we can do that.
There is, of course, the risk and possibility that every death could lead to final death. You need to keep that in mind.
Exactly. I know. That is why this is the dangerous option.
Which is why I want to get a ritual done every time.
Well, a
It's
lot of
either
people do.
them or the lay. And
Yep.
I personally, I don't know about all you, I would pick the lay.
I also pick the lay.
That's yes.
And so we
that
can do.
brings me to my. I'm still in the early phases of this, and I have still to wait on replies from the greater spirits. But I am working on an immunization ritual, something that would prevent you from becoming afflicted due to outside means that aren't incredibly violent. Say, witnessing the death of a high fae, for example, wouldn't afflict you, but if you were eaten by one, you still have a risk and it may destroy whatever ritual I'm working on. This will, however, prevent the vast majority of magical things that could accidentally afflict you. Touching someone else's core, for example, you'd be safe to do so. Reading the bizarre books that are scattered about the land, you should also be safe. I say should.
Okay, what I'll say.
Sounds incredibly useful.
That sounds like it would be. If you can make that work, fantastic. My thought is, since you all seem to know way more about reconstitution than me for obvious reasons, if you can set up a thing for when it is time to burn people so that they have something to help with reconstitution to make it more safe, then by all means go do that. Because we don't want them actually dead, we just want the affliction gone.
Yes, I do understand that. I believe Rosenrod understands how to help people reconstitute, yes?
Yes, however, bonds help me bring people back, but the affliction eats bonds, and the rituals to spare them may destroy bonds the way I do them.
I see.
What could also help me bring them back is having a part of their essence, but that might mean a part of their essence not in the ritual. Although if it is collected immediately after the ritual, perhaps then I can help.
I have no
It is
strong
not a
feelings
guarantee,
one way
but it
or the
is
other.
help.
Understood.
Theophany is wrought in that other room.
I think so. That's the door he walked out of.
May I go speak with him? I would like to ask him some questions on making it if we're going to trap the Waygates.
Are we adjourning the meeting then?
No, we are not done.
No, we're not done.
So, the next thing I wanted to talk about is the grander plan for healing the lay.
Just before you do one last thing, Verena will not be back for 2 cycles. She just informed me of this.
That is alright.
No, it's not. She wants to be there for that, and I don't know if Robin will agree to this ever if Verena is not there.
Well,
worse regardless.
Well, then we've lost her. It's that simple.
yeah, I don't understand. If
Excellent.
Robin does not do it this cycle, she's not going to do it after the judge fight. I can promise you that.
I know, but let me.
Then why don't we just do it by force if that's what it's come down to? They've had plenty
That
of
is
chances.
also something she wants to be there for, at least the ritual itself.
We
That is
don't
what I'm
have
saying.
time anymore.
Yes,
we-
this is
Still,
literally
we-
the last cycle we can do it.
In which case, violence might be the quickest solution.
I know you are close with her, Emily, but she is running out of time.
It's time to quit dancing over feelings. I know it is not an easy thing to deal with, but it is the only way to finish it.
It's not
It-
going.
And chain them to whatever you need to get done.
It's deeply, deeply unfortunate, I agree, but we really are running out of options. It's their choice or ours. And we're running out of choices to make about this.
As Talon,
They're running out of will to make the choice.
yes, as
Also,
That too.
as Talon and I said. Go ahead, Alizard.
I was on the forefront of demanding that people respected their consent, but we have run out of time to do so, and they no longer have the willpower to make informed decisions.
Yes. As Talon and I said, with the near disaster of Yahtzee, we take one choice from them so that they can have a lifetime of choices for themselves.
However, I do want to present that if we are forcing people, we need to do so very carefully. As we saw what happens when someone decides to resist
Yes.
last cycle.
Yes. I don't want it to come to this, and right now we have the new afflicted who get out as quick as we can. They seem willing. They will be willing. It is the long-standing ones of Robin and Phoenix and Crimson that are the concern. I would really like them to come willingly, but if they will not, then they are out of time.
We will do what needs to be done when it is time to do it. Now, I want to talk about the lay. There are a lot of ideas floating amongst the factions, to my understanding, for what we should be doing for it. However, I think the most promising that I have heard comes from the Aegis, with Autolycus and Autolycus machine. I don't know if all of you have heard of it.
Yes.
I have.
Yes. It seems like a great idea.
Hesperos is working on it right now in South Gloomrod.
Good.
It will need so much fiber. I think Autolycus told me the estimate was 40,000.
Well, here's the thing with the foreseeable future. Now that I have a way to convert fiber into radiant stones, it's quite possible that we can cheapen any requirements needed purely via this process.
That
It
would
does,
be
however,
absolutely
require
wonderful.
other components to make. I can compile a list.
Rosenrod?
Yes.
When it comes to the wound and the lay, after the cycle where we first cured 2 of the seeded, I went to the Waygates to check on the lay. Not only had the mass in it shrunk, but the lay sped up. For a long time now, it has been slowing down as the magics die. It speeding up is a sign of healing. So the more that we cure this affliction, that we get rid of hyphae, of seeded, of encased, the more the lay gets to heal. This is part of the process. I know that there are contingency measures with sending more magic back into the lay. but it is in need of magic in the first place due to the affliction sapping it away from it.
As you wish.
That's really good
I'm
to
not
know.
don't do this, but I'm saying priorities may be better assigned to curing when it comes to resource management.
I am inclined to agree. However, I think this machine is a very good thing for the people who are not fighters to
Colony
work on.
apathetic.
Since the ritual is sort of capable to be done by mages, there are scientists among us who
I
are not
am indifferent.
particularly magically inclined and who cannot fight the best. And this machine gives them a way to help as well.
I
We
have
can
no
cover on
strong
many
feelings
fronts instead of
one
just
way
one or
the
two.
other.
Very well. I'm just saying because fibers have been running short. There are
Yes.
certain priorities to be made.
Especially with the loss of 19,000 of them last month. That is a huge dent.
I do wish to make it clear at this table, every single faction here should be gathering fibers in mass. We need them. So make sure you are dedicating sufficient time to
Of
getting as many fibers as you possibly can.
Yes, my understanding is something about, I don't know, workers' blood makes it a lot easier to get them.
Spiritually, we know that not to be the case. That is a rumor that went around that is not true from what I've been told from a reliable source.
Well, I'll,
I believe the most important factor to it is experience with that sort
Yes,
of.
with harvesting things, yes.
On top of this machine, the Oak Song has recently finished exploring our bell tower. Now, I unfortunately could not be there at the end of it. However, it is my understanding that the bells themselves are very important to healing the lay. Boudica, Ruby, I presume you both were there. Would you like to speak on the bells?
Sure, I'll let Boudica speak.
The cleansing bell turned out to be a weapon, something akin to a morning star, a bell upon a chain that ignites those that you unleash it upon. That being said, in the past, the Oak Singers of old had ways of combating the rot, ways that have been lost. However, I think the bell tower may have been a part of this, potentially. The arcane architecture of the bell tower is fascinating, to say the least. It incorporates magic into music, along with music, and it is meant to harmonize with the song that is magic itself, as you all would understand it. I think we could incorporate some of this architecture into some of these ritual sites. Potentially strengthening these rituals.
My immediate belief is that if we were to find a way to incorporate the bells into Yesod's ritual specifically, it would stabilize the magic as it moves around and make it very unlikely that there would be any instability.
There is another matter. Oakvale is quite, well, it's been severely weakened by venom sap. However, over the past few years I have been working on a breed of plants, and I finally succeeded in something that is able to filter out venom sap from soil. I think if we can aid in, well, seeding this into Gloomrock, or into Oakvale, it might help push back, give the land time to heal, and potentially strengthen the lay that way as well.
As you wish.
The sap that we could pull out could be used to make more coatings, which I have heard are something that is very, very good to put into the lay, given how much magic they can actually hold.
Of course.
I do not think... I have not experimented with the byproduct of this, but it produces a blackened tar. I think it might be inert, but it will need more testing. However, the corrupted trees still need to be removed to aid in this. They are only making things worse by pumping sap back into the soil.
There's also the aspect of the ley that's the problem. We can pump magic into the ley. We've succeeded in such a thing. What we need to work on are ways to stop the ley from being converted into entropic magic, to keep it pure, so to speak. That is the thing that should be our priority. And I believe the machine Sidre spoke of not too long ago should help us in this endeavor. Well, as a few other things. Yes. Yeah.
The thought was basically, because Cedar and I had talked to Autolycus about this, and the thought was that you could use a waygate to, I don't know, hook up the machine to the wound and start siphoning the growth off, basically. Don't know if you could do it, don't know how you do that. I'm not really the best magic person, but if it works, then it should work great.
I also believe that we can use the bells in this machine to sort of, I don't know, make the magic play a little more nice, so to speak. Filter it a little better.
I am actually interested in if you can construct these cross stones. I wonder if you can fasten them into a knocker for a bell, or even fashion them into a bell itself.
I personally think reinforcing the ley and the waygates is the way to go. If you have the materials, I can have my men build them.
Yes, actually, that was a thought.
Well, if you're willing to reinforce the waygates in the world, you give us a list of materials that you would require to do that, and we will do it.
Yous have the ritual and schematics. I have the manpower. You said you needed locations to bind them to, and I can currently think of 3.
So, one thought we had, Vox, was the warding ritual that has been performed here at the Silver Pact and at Claudia and Lothrix. We were thinking about doing it on Dracula's castle. The thought was to have a warded estate in every region, which progress on that has been slow due to a number of distractions. If you can get people to ward Dracula's castle, that would be very beneficial. We can provide the documentation for that.
I don't think that's possible. There is even less than ley connection. It was almost like it's torn away, it's nothingness.
Its total absence is something to be noted, as it's quite alarming. As far as our understanding of magic, that should be an impossibility.
Has no one thought about reinforcing the waygates and binding them to your dungeons?
That is not a bad idea.
I mean, the bell tower could probably get bound to the Waygate and the Hallowed Mountains. They're right next to each other. I don't know.
Depending on how powerful the structures are, they could actually ward whole regions, potentially.
That is... Well, that was the thought of having one warded estate in every region, was to semi-accomplish that goal.
Yes, true, yes. There was also the network of them that was to be constructed.
Which, speaking of, Lothric and Claudia, can you pass around the list of the places we were intending to ward, just because I still haven't seen it myself?
Yes, Claudia, could you show everyone here the map?
I have that map. This map is now slightly inaccurate due to the collapse of Rod's estate. While I pass this out, I just need to grab it out of my notes. If anyone in this room would like their estate warded, I can help you get in contact.
We have already provided the materials for 10 warding rituals in total, which Claudia and Lothric are currently in possession of. We
I
can likely
believe
do it.
4 of which have been used.
Yeah.
Already.
We can do that this month, or hopefully this month. Cedra, I think you were going to say something.
Claudia, you had intended to ward Nertha's estate. But due to the Hall's connection with the spirits, with the Oak Singer,
Oh.
I think we should do the Hall.
Yeah, now that Thiazi is also... Now that Thiazi is also free of the affliction, willing to aid us, and owner of the heart, I do think the Hall should take priority over Natas.
I agree. Nyadas was chosen due to the hall not being a safe location at the time.
The Hall is also sacred ground for many religious and spiritual reasons. I think it should be protected as a bastion of culture.
Vox, we will work on getting you the materials to reinforce the waygates in the world, if that is something you are capable of doing.
One way or the other.
I have the means and the men to construct them. Just get me the materials and the instructions, and it will be done.
Got it.
With regards, so that I understand, with regards to reinforcing the waygates in the world, is it the 100 dark silver and onyx tier apiece, or is it something else? Okay.
I believe that is it. Now, I do want to touch briefly. I understand what the Oak Song has found in our faction's dungeon, so to speak. And I know loosely what the Gilded Compass has found in theirs. However, I have not heard much from the Shepherds or Aegis in regards to what is in yours.
We have yet to finish exploring ours, but there is, I believe, an old god there.
Ours has not been able to be explored due to extended spiritual matters of the Curator spirits that run the place.
I see. I do recall you mentioning a sword that you found in there. Has anything come of that?
Not yet, but as with investigating the ruins, it might take a spiritual moment before we can finish doing so. However,
Understood.
I've been studying as much as I can around them, so...
We
There
know
is
it is
one-
chapel to some ancient belief. We also know that Luminance is the one that attacked it. The place despises Luminance in every form.
Understood.
Sword craves Luminance blood.
It also hates the affliction. At least a representative of it does. The affliction brought back one of the members of that faith back to life from being dead centuries ago. They are technically my sireling due to how the process worked, but I'm going to be talking with them, see what they know, see what they want to do, but they are against the affliction and the rot in general.
I understand. Were any of the shepherds present at the raid on the Luminance library?
No, not me.
I believe Alone was.
Alune was.
And Alex.
Alexia was.
I only bring it up because if the Luminance was the enemy of this place, there might have been some information that could help you in there.
I believe Peter has the information, whatever it is.
I do still have the documents. I will have to sort through them.
If you
Right.
could share them, that would be fantastic.
And then Aegis members, I do know that, considering I was there for
I
a few
am
of your
indifferent.
delves, I do know that you found the Aegis within yours. Has there been any further developments?
Well,
No.
yeah.
Spirits have did such.
But
We
last time we were there, we were attacked and we had to flee.
Yes, we were able to charge the shield up just enough to take on Zeus, but I believe we may have to return soon to charge it further.
All right. It would be really nice if we could use that shield against the judge, but
I have no strong feelings one way or the other.
I mean, if spirits were, could all go charge in there and go charge it this cycle.
That is a terrible idea. I don't think we could. I think this group could maybe, if we're lucky, kill one high fae, not over 100.
We'll have to see what the shield's capable of.
Let's start with one.
I just reach out to the spirits and see what we do.
Sorry.
The whole killing a lot of Hi-Fi thing is why I want so much alchemical fire and to infiltrate the crypts.
I
But
do
it is
think
dangerous. Go on.
I do think attacking the crypts is a very good move after we finish with the judge. I think that should be our next goal, is destroying the oasis.
Yes, that's what got Violet killed, to my knowledge, is trying to burn them alone. It will enrage them, so we will have to do it together and en masse.
Yes, definitely
Some
not alone.
notes about the oasis. I spoke earlier, but some folks were not here. So as I mentioned before, the oasis is flooded with, filled with high fae. That's where they nest. But they will devour anything that enters that is not beholden. That includes stage 1 of the affliction. The other thing to note is that the gates will devour any magic thrown at them. So if we are going to infiltrate them, we're going to have to find a non-magical means of doing so.
That gives me a small thought. If they're attacking anything that comes in and is not beholden, have we looked at possibly trying to recreate a false beholden? As in
Rosenroth has
something...
mentioned this idea before.
Yes.
Okay, I was
Rosenroth is
unsure if they
working on
had or not.
It is an intriguing plan, one that I actually haven't conceived of yet. I think you should stick with it.
It is.
I do want to posit, if it becomes necessary, we do have the means to force someone into becoming beholden. So if we desperately need to get inside, we could force people to be beholden so they can get in.
Knowing what we do know about it, am strongly opposed to the idea, vitriolically.
Would sending a beholden, even aligned to us, into that place just make their compulsions worse?
So long as
Beholden.
there is an haste or a high fae within their vicinity, they will be... The beholden will be compelled to act. It is extremely difficult, almost impossible to resist when they are in your direct vicinity.
I understand.
They also cannot stay there for long. Afflicted barely can, beholden for a very short time, and encased are fine.
Yes, that idea I think we are shooting down inherently.
All right. Well, that is fine. It was just an idea.
I should also mention I've also found a way of safely containing the larger crowstones. The process does require a great deal of greater stygia to do so, however. But encasing them in a ring of substantial greater stygia is how I was able to make my rapid evolution project work.
Yes,
By
I
using it
believe
as a fuel source.
I believe the crow gave that knowledge to Autolycus. Well, unwittingly, when Autolycus put his sticky fingers through his things.
That, for my research, knowing what I now know about the stones and the fibers being inherently linked, I am intrigued by that process. This will perhaps give us a way to have the ritual be performable without the consumption of resources, and if that is possible, it is something we should work on.
great deal of Greater Stygia. I put about 1,600 in a ring around it, and it nearly chewed through all of them. I think about 1,000 was left. Or maybe 2,000. It was close to that.
Speaking of the Stygian shards, there are those extra shiny ones we got a couple cycles back. Do we know what the significance of those are?
We have a few hundred under my own possession, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Claudia, we can make them within the academy now. Yes?
Radiant stones?
No, the primal Stygian shards.
Primal shards.
Yes,
Can.
that and a few other recipes that I know I believe Zrod has in his notes. Yes.
So, experiments can almost certainly be done on these Stygian shards, and I imagine whatever can be done with greater shards can be done to greater effect with them as well. Such as Burdick has mentioned, perhaps it would be an even better way to contain them with the use of less resources if they are more potent. It seems we are in the process of greater refining of resources beyond what we thought imaginable.
I should also mention that venom sap may also be useful, although it does leave more of a substance behind. It seems to also want to chew through that, likely because venom sap is kind of just concentrated magic in a physical form.
Lothric, if you could share some notes with me about those primal shards, I think I want to do some digging on my own about that.
So I have actually yet to run proper experiments on them. I can, however, more than willingly give you some. I have a few hundred.
I've got a few hundred too. If you guys want to do your experiments and I'll do mine, I tend to lean more towards enchanting. So like gems and things anyways. I'll put it under the scope and see if I can find anything useful magically.
I have a few other experiments I wish to conduct, especially with the refining of radiant stones, so I will lead you for that for the time being.
Wonderful. I'll keep you updated on what I find.
Please do.
If we need another topic to discuss, I would like to bring up the psychic books.
Yes, it is. I did intend to get to those very shortly, so you know it as well.
Okay.
Fuck it.
Alright then. Around Vardarin, you may have noticed that there are stone books on tablets that you can't really move. Those books have energy of the scions in them, and attempting to read them may cause you harm. We've had instances of our eyes bleeding, hearing bells, having the taste of grass in our mouths for several turns, all sorts of weird psionic nonsense. These books can contain quite literally anything until you decipher them. When we've been able to read them, as I've been able to read multiple of them now successfully, they can be really anything. Journals of enchanted humans. And in other cases, such as the one in Silverlight, information about the cleansing bell and the other ruined structures in Vardarin. One of them even mentioned the need to burn the afflicted with fire, that being the only way. I do have a map of where all of them currently are, that I know of at the moment.
If you want to pass that around, that could be helpful. Boudica, you wanted to speak?
I wanted to note that something about these books, it is difficult to retain the information of more than one of them at a time. It makes it actively harder to read them once you have deciphered one, and at that point it becomes a matter of luck more than anything.
I have been actually.
I have been doing my hardest, I will say, and I seem to be coming up just short. since the first one. My point is, I think increasing the net is very helpful for these sort of things. More eyes on it.
Yes, if you look at my map, we currently know the locations of 5 of these books. There are definitely more out there, I just don't know where they are. If you'll notice, they're marked down in 2 colors. Yellow and pink, purely because that is the ink that I have on me at the moment. All of the points noted in the bright yellow need to be destroyed, because we've already gotten all of the information we can out of them. All of the other ones still need to be deciphered. There's a particularly concerning one in the Western Farbane Crypt. If you do attempt to go decipher that one, don't go alone. Because if there are encased awake under
Have they come out to defend it?
not necessarily to observe, if you will.
I see.
I have not encountered any of them when I've gone, but Claudia is correct. It is still very dangerous.
Yes. And so far, to destroy the books, we have been using the book in Silverlight to attempt this. We believe it's going to require a mix of magic and explosives. But once someone figures out how to destroy one of them, we can apply that method to all of the others and destroy them as we find them.
Well, I imagine they are protected by very strong magics, so once you get rid of the ward on them, probably just bombs.
It's not necessarily a ward. I think the book itself is cursed.
Cursed being the apt word. Do you want to talk about the side effect?
Oh, yes. Boudica, have you had your core checked recently, since you've been able to decipher that book?
No, I have not.
Okay, after I deciphered a second book, we checked my core, and there are small, branches, tree-like branches of entry magic growing in my magical core.
After you looked at the book.
After I successfully deciphered the second book, yes.
These things should not be, is the only way I could describe them. This is why I think we should expand operations and try. Honestly, I don't even think we should try to have one person decipher multiple of them.
I agree.
I also agree.
Which has not stopped me from trying to decipher the one in Northern Road, but you know.
Wow, you didn't know that before, did you?
I mean, I knew it was getting harder, and I knew it was it was really awful, but this is more alarming than I imagined.
Yes, I think for the safety of everyone from now on, we should have a lot of people attempt to decipher one. As soon as that is successful, whoever succeeds should not be allowed to do another. No?
Yes, I am inclined to agree.
Do we want to speak on the contents, specific contents of them? Because the one in the forest was curious.
I suppose it's, worth bringing up. Do you have it written down? You could just pass around the notes.
I have no strong
Claudia, you do you not?
or the other.
The contents of the books you have deciphered, could you share them?
Of course.
Thank you. I'd like to take a look.
If I may boldly interject.
Yes.
As for the documents received from the Luminous Library, is there anything specifically that you are looking to find? I am having to decipher them, as there is coding in them.
I'd be willing to aid. I'm pretty good at deciphering things.
I believe the primary interest would be to the shepherds to see if there's anything you could, any information you could give them in regards to the ruins they are exploring.
I am also pretty decent at decoding if we need to decode something for this. I was distracted by a spirit, so I lost the exact topic, but...
The contents of Luminance's library.
Yes, Peter, if you have those sorted through.
Perhaps we could organize some sort of, I want to say, study session.
That would probably be for the best.
I like Psychic Book Club better.
Book club works too.
Forbidden Book Club?
See about it. I have some of my fellow paladins and Lightweavers currently deciphering them. I'm just not sure which information you are looking to garner. We were able to retrieve about 14 books worth. There is a bit of information.
Well, I can send you a letter with certain topics to keep an eye out for, if that is something you are alright with.
That is much appreciated. Simply send it to the chapel behind the Elementalist.
Do keep me updated on that.
Something else I did want to mention, though we have sort of drifted from the initial topic. In regards to this machine that the Aegis are working on, I've been tossing the idea around in my head, and I wanted to bring it up specifically to Autolycus, who is not here, unfortunately. But, Lothric, since you have been sort of involved, since the premise is to sort of pump the lay up and out, so to speak, I was considering if there was some way we could perhaps help it spread a bit quicker. Because I trust that the lay will heal. I trust that the machine will do its job, but it will be slow, very slow. And so I was considering the prospect of working on things outside of Vardoran, perhaps conduits to call the lay, sort of like a network.
You're saying... Inherently, I understand the thought process behind the idea, but going to a place with less magic to boost magic seems...
Well, it wouldn't be necessarily boosting magic. Be well, Alara. It wouldn't necessarily be boosting magic, it would be more making a place for magic to flow to, go to, as the lay is pumped out and healed.
My understanding of the device itself, with regards to the lay, is that the lay currently is being dammed up, if we are to think of it as a river, and that is why magic is only in Vardoran, is because we are forming a lake. This machine serves to serve as a sort of filtration and a hole in the dam to leak the magic back out.
Rosenrot?
So ideally, it already does that.
So, we had those previously afflicted whispers from those high fae and encased and so on. They wish to destroy the waygates and quote-unquote free the lay.
Yes, they want to
My
consume.
theory on this is that the waygates are they are anchors, but they are the last thing holding the lay from being completely wound up into the wheel.
Um,
I think in terms of giving the Lay a place to go, waygates being set up further off may give them a point to hold on to and unwind to.
Yes, that is sort of the prospect that I'm implying here. If we're just shooting the Lay out, even filtered, there's no guarantee that it won't get tangled up elsewhere in the world, which is why I'm proposing we put things to keep it filtered elsewhere.
Behold.
Not a bad idea.
Something to note about the Scion's goals. The reason why they wish to destroy the Waygates is because they believe Dracula to be they refer to Dracula as an interloper. Dracula did something that is it's interfering with what they want, and it involves the Waygates. Something that I think is worth noting.
Then maybe he anchored the Lay and prevented it from being wound up with everything else.
I am of the opinion that whatever Dracula did, it aided the magic. He probably did it to save his own skin, mind you, but that is what he did.
Oh, I can almost guarantee he did it to save his own skin, but it's benefited us thus far.
Wasn't that information from the Scions?
Yes.
Why are we trusting anything they say?
Yes, they are delusional and liars.
It was a task that they gave us when we were after Leodric's party. It is where they stated clearly what their goals are, and they revealed their plan to us.
Again, they are lying.
And if they are stating their enemies, I don't know that they have a reason to lie about that, especially to their own.
The point more so is that they admitted that they viewed Dracula as an enemy. For that extent, whatever he was working on, we should try to replicate and help.
I don't think we should necessarily try to replicate what he was working on. Given what I know about some of his projects, it could end horrendously. But some of his research may be helpful. If we can get our hands on some of what he was doing, we might be able to reverse engineer methods of our own.
I doubt there was anything. I'll be honest. When I was with the Legion, there was no word of plans with the Lay. Well, I can say this. If I wanted to direct attention away from my own efforts, I would paint a larger target on someone else's back.
Tis true.
Either way, it may be useful to understand exactly what Dracula did. That way we know how to take full advantage of it.
I would be inclined to agree.
I almost wish we could contact him some way, but we'll have to do with what we have.
You know, from everything I've heard about Dracula, I don't think he would be too open to that sort of conversation.
I also think it's highly unlikely he even lived.
Perhaps.
So, the reality is, even if he did survive, we have no means of guaranteeing what kind of state he'd be in. Additionally, towards the end of his life, the extensive use of whatever power he was channeling in addition to shadow magic was corroding him. He was losing himself to the power, and it was getting ugly.
Right. Well, talk of Dracula aside, my primary focus for the future is ensuring that the Lay not only heals, but is sort of future-proofed from this sort of entanglement happening again. Which is why I think we need to branch beyond Vardoran. Why we need to put these filtration systems, these measures elsewhere as well. I know Theophany and Gerhardt are soon to depart from Vardoran, and I've told them a little bit about this intention of putting these filters elsewhere in the world. And if you think it is a good idea that we should construct things like this elsewhere to ensure the ley can stay whole, I will also depart Vardoran on the same quest.
I think that is a grand and noble cause to be taken up after the Signs are defeated.
That is what I meant mostly, is after
Brilliant.
things are stable here, we have the machine built and it is close to functional, then I would depart.
Halt.
He said halt.
What are we halting for?
Oh, no.
There's a crew.
He shouldn't be able to get in here. It is warded.
Warding doesn't stop you from flying over things, it just stops you from walking through walls and you interfering with sigil magic. Crow is the only problem that is still affects in a warded estate.
No one out here.
Are you certain it's a crow? I don't...
Well, Callan seems to think so.
You should.
Oh.
The crow we are thinking of can indeed summon smaller crows. He's done so before in front of me.
Yes, numerous times.
No strong feelings one way or the other.
Though he doesn't seem to think anything of them.
Callan, could you...
The person who wants you to think he can't do something will tell.
It is. Hold on, Callan is doing...
I'm not immediately
Clearly, this meeting has a lack of a desired topic, and I have a recovery to attend to.
Understood.
What I want to talk
Wait,
about
I want to get the
is
puppy blood essence.
In that case, I will have to go with him.
the last thing I want to talk about, if you're willing, is distribution of labor going forward. Who does what? When the machine needs to be done. Gathering of radiant fibers. Some people are fighters and will be working at, once the deadline hits, burning out the afflicted and doing things by force if they won't come willingly. And then significant efforts need to be made on Autolycus's machine. So I'll just ask for volunteers of people who are willing to take point on that. My thought goes to the shepherds, but who wants to do that?
Do fighting, you say? You said a lot of things all at once.
So, distribution of labor, what we do now.
The first point of labor to be distributed, you mentioned, was what?
So, there is, before the deadline of the judge, there is going to try to get another whirlpool to get as many afflicted out as we can, and to convince Robin and the Seed Bearers, Robin and Crimson and Finn. We are going to try to do that for the rest of this cycle and next, up until the judge, after which point we need fighters to do so by force. To that end, we need gathering and collection of a lot of radiant fiber to actually get enough raw material to make Yesod's ritual happen. And to that end, to try and get, which Bodica, I feel like you would be best suited for this, since I think you understand it better than anyone, to get the bells put in place to maybe strengthen them. If you could do that.
There is a very specific structure, but yes, I've been testing it out. Some of the equipment in the bell tower was destroyed, so it may be difficult to get the exact sort of bells we need unless we can replicate them.
CJ, I don't know if you heard while you were out, I brought up the conversation of distribution of labor and what we do here. First, preparation for one more whirlpool to get out those willing before the judge's ascension. And and then pass that distribution for with regards to fighters to burn the afflicted out by force, and then also distribution for who is going to take charge on the machine.
I believe the Aegis are taking charge of the machine and its building. Alright, well, if everyone is heading out, I suppose.
Speak of the group. I must go.
Wait.
I have spiritual matters to attend to.
I will spend a stone on what we can do. That includes fiber collecting, but all should do it. The whirlpool with Yasod and Kokonos, but fighters, we have lost some with time, so we will do what we can.
Thank you.
As you wish.
Half of the people I wanted to invite have already departed, so we will do so
Yes.
on occasion. Oh, pity. I might actually just write a list of people and get to that at another occasion. If you don't mind, Sidre, I would like to take charge on the forming of that group.
That is
Voltraxis.
perfectly fine.
Okay.
If I might speak with you and Paladin Peter and those present for a second, there is one matter I would like to address. As we are all aware, Theophany and Gerhardt are planning to leave Vardarin, yes?
I didn't know that, no.
This is the first.
Really? Am I the only person that was aware of this?
No, I did bring it up just earlier.
It was brought up.
Alright. Given that they are planning to leave Vardarin, Gerhardt, myself, and two others, Gerhardt, myself, Theophany, and one other, will be making an attempt to establish contact with the creature residing in Dracula's throne room. If we are successful, we may be able to help redirect some of the efforts that have been rampaging across Mortium.
I am indifferent.
However, I would like to make a request in the event of a contingency. I want to request that Callan come with us.
That's up to Callan.
That's for Callan to eat them.
The reality is, if we fail, it could very well mean a breach opening the Shadow Realm to Vardarin, and I don't imagine all of you want to have to fight whatever night creatures crawl out and the encased.
Yeah, probably not.
That would be a problem.
Assuming that everything goes well, or at least moderately well, and those of us who entered the throne room survive, I will then return to offer whatever aid I can, but I cannot promise to be at full power.
You win.
I will let you know when we are preparing to leave, Callan.
Absolutely.
Prepare for the worst.
I can take it.
I really hope you can.
I know he can.
Before you two go,
Yes.
I think it would be good for you to get in contact with the manager at IDEA, the one known as the Collector.
One way or the other.
Some of the information that he can offer in exchange is strange, but if you have discoveries made of the unusual and unique nature, he accepts those as trade as well for various things,
I have
including
never met
resources.
The victory
I've
Like-
never met this collector. I didn't even know their existence. Thank you.
Right, they're currently the manager of IDEA, so if you could just write them. But if you, I have exchanged a number of my discoveries for some information of varying value, but also possibly resources like a great deal of Shadow Weave and such.
Very well. That is
Also-
a good indication. Thank you.
I will posit it to those who are still here. Would anyone in this room like to be with me when I go to meet the Transcendum?
I would.
I can
If
go.
my,
When-
if my
I can go
spirits are
with you.
willing.
I have
I'm
not
ve-
scheduled it yet.
Okay,
so I can.
I would like to invite me. I cannot promise I'll be there. I'm very busy. There are so many
Alright.
events I'm participating in.
Likewise.
It is perfectly fine. I will seek
I
spiritual
will-
correspondence on the matter.
I will be
Fantastic.
there if I can.
I would also like you to extend an invitation to me. I have a couple different machines I'd like to work on.
All right.
It would be best if I did not. Black Brew and I have a long-standing feud.
Understood.
Yes. I remember that.
Speaking of which, I still need to have some of the staff press hand him through the windows again.
Peter,
Hmm.
let me know next cycle what forces you can spare for the Judge's Rising.
Remy, we must depart.
I shall make sure that whatever forces, probably a few paladin, maybe a light weaver, or two. Do let me know if you get in touch with the Transcendum. They are someone who have been in cahoots with the Arch Paladin in at least a number of torture.
Understood.
Alarming.
Perhaps maybe they can lend their fire spewers.
Yes. Worth noting, on a different topic, Cassandra has just sent the missive for her exploration into the ley, which the more help we have and the more hands, the better. It'll be in about 3 days. 2.5 days. 2.5 turns. So, if you can help with that, please be there. We are going to be, well, Cassandra could better explain it, but basically tying every waygate together and then diving in. We are very likely to have Scion's resistance.
Alright. And Voltraxis, I will be in touch in regards to materials for reinforcing the waygates.
Very good. Do ensure the instructions and blueprints are sent my way.
Understood. Alright, well, meeting adjourned.
Thank you. Write
Very
your
good.
respective factions about Radiant Fiber Gathering, or at least, the ones you trust. The ones that aren't afflicted.
Of course.
You just see the machine built. Let others know if you need help with it. Do it quickly if you can.
Certainly.
We will.
Thank you.
Remy?
Yes.
I
And we
believe
have a
that
conversation.
Yes, the knowledge from the.
The
event
blood war?
earlier.
Sanguis lupus.
I will assert my will.
Well done, Citray.
Color me apathetic.
It could have gone better, but I am on maybe 2 hours of spiritual rest.
You do what you have to. Hopefully we'll see you at the lay dive.
I will do my best.
And get what rest you can.
I must make room if I want to carry that. My bags are filled.